Hello everyone. Inshallah, today we're going to begin discussing SAT reading tips and tricks. Now, I first want you to know that the SAT is an extremely repetitive exam. Therefore, since it's repetitive and since the makers of the exam have to make a lot of questions per year, they are usually forced to use certain patterns in their questions. And I think that if we observe these patterns, we can answer any SAT reading question that comes in our way. So let's dive in. Now, the first rule is a rule that occurs in citation questions, and this rule simply states that the answer, let's write it down here, the answer is always a translation or restatement of what was said or what was provided in the citation. And let's say this rule in another, or let's restate this rule in another manner. The answer is the citation. Citation means the evidence that's provided within the lines. In other words. So let's begin solving some questions to notice this pattern. Let's look at this question. Why does Akira say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency? Now, in the first question, I'm not going to solve it. I'm actually going to provide you with the answer and the explanation, and then we can solve together in the upcoming questions. So the answer in this question is C. He was offered an attractive job in another country. Why is that the correct answer? Well, because like we said, the SAT exam makers like to actually make the answer the same as the quote or what was provided between citations, but in other words. So let's break down our answer. He has been offered an attractive job. Let's highlight the keywords that he has been offered an attractive job in another country. Let's read the quote. I don't want to trouble you. Normally, I would approach you more properly, but I've received word of a position. I have an opportunity to go to America as dentist for Seattle's Japanese community. As you can see here, the reason why does Akira say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency is directly provided. He says that he normally would approach her more properly, but that he has received word of a position. He has been offered an opportunity to go to America. So as you can see here, another country. We're just using different words to express this. And he has been offered an attractive job, which is being a dentist. So as you can see here, the answer is simply a restatement of the quote in other words. Let's take several other examples. The authors indicate that people value gift giving because they feel it. Now, there's a trick. If you think that the answer is incredibly long, there's a trick that you can actually use, which is simply to split the answer or to highlight the keywords in the answer. So, for example, functions as a form of self-expression. That means it helps you in self-expression. Is an inexpensive way to show appreciation. Requires the gift recipient to reciprocate or to give back. Or can serve to strengthen a relationship. Now that we've broken down the answers, let's read the quote and the question. The authors indicate that people value gift giving. People value the act of giving gifts because they feel. Now let's start reading the quote. Many relish the opportunity to buy presents, which is gift giving, As you can see, even the question is a translation in other words. That many relish the opportunity to buy presents, to give gifts. So that's a restatement or simply the use of in other words. Because gift giving offers a powerful means to build stronger bonds with one's closest peers. So to build stronger bonds is to strengthen, and a bond with one's special peers or one's closest friends and family is a relationship. So as you can see, the answer is simply a restatement of what was provided in the passage. And so the answer in this case is D. Let's take another question. Now let's solve using the same method. First, identify if there is an important keyword in the question. Second, try to split or to break up or to divide the answer choices. Third, read the quote and search for the answer. So, let's begin. Now, according to the passage, which of the following is true of antithrombin? Now, it's important to note that it doesn't matter how you decide to break up the answer. In fact, if you don't have a problem with reading a long answer, then you don't have to break it up. But let's try breaking these answers up. Number one, that it reduces compounds. Which compounds? The compounds that lead to blood clots. So that it reduces or decreases the compounds that form blood clots. Choice B, it stems from a genetic mutation that is rare in humans. C, it's a sequence of DNA known as a promoter. D, it occurs naturally in goats' mammary glands. That means in female goats' breasts. Okay, let's now try reading the quote. It acts as a molecular bouncer, sliding up to clot-forming compounds and escorting them out of the bloodstream. As you can see here, clot-forming compounds is the same as compounds that lead to blood clots. It was just stated in other words. And escorting them or taking them out of the bloodstream is reducing them. So the correct answer in this case is choice A. Let's solve one final example. America's major cities face enormous fiscal problems, many of them the result of public pension obligations they incurred in the more prosperous years of the past 2 decades. Now let's begin. According to the passage, which choice best describes the current financial situation in many American cities? Number 1. Expected tax increases due to demand for public works. B. Economic hardship due to promises made in the past years. C. Greater overall prosperity due to an increased inner-city tax base. D. Insufficient revenues due to a decrease in manufacturing. Now, let's reread and see if we can pinpoint any restatements. America's major cities face enormous fiscal problems. We just said in the choices or read in the choices economic hardship. Fiscal means economic. So, enormous fiscal problems or enormous economic problems is the same as saying economic hardship. Many of them the result of public pension obligations they incurred in the more prosperous years of the past 2 decades are the past years that we're talking about. So I've already found 2 keywords and I definitely know that this is the answer. However, to make sure, I'm going to read another answer. I'm going to search for the promises just to be sure. Many of them the result of public pension obligations they incurred. So Here are my promises. Obligations they incurred refers to the promises. So the correct answer is B. Thank you for your time.